Today, the hustle economy. Advice from 25 creative entrepreneurs. So this is probably one of the most interesting books I ever read. It's kind of crazy because a lot of time, we don't get to get the perspective from people that we admire, like people who admire like Tony Robbins and what's his name, Ty Lopez, and other people like that. But books like these, they give you the perspective from if you were basically just sitting in front of this person asking this person this question. But this book today I'm reading y'all, The Hustle Economy. Really, really, oh my God, the stories in this book have been amazing. I'm gonna start y'all with this one. You're going to get tired of swimming upstream by Jeff Wasaki, a blogger and humorist. It's just so interesting. So I'm just gonna get right into it and get right to reading y'all this. My wife and I both willingly hurled ourselves from the comfort of the corporate workship years ago. When we first started, my father-in-law was supportive and wished us luck. However, we also had the temerity to divine, "You're going to get tired of swimming upstream." In our youthful recklessness, we rolled our eyes at the old world viewpoint. But in the back of our mind, I feared he might be right. I knew it then, and you probably know it now. Striking out on your own is 1,000 times more difficult than settling into a traditional job. In fact, this may be the single biggest realization that's keeping you from jumping into cold, murky water in career insecurity. And let's see, I wish I could tell you this fact is wrong. That there is, in fact, a magical way to shortcut past upstream swim and skip right to the reward and fall and for all that sweet. Steamy fish sex. I mean, independent job success. Unfortunately, I can't do that. However, I can tell you that it will not be difficult forever. You see, and here's my father-in-law's logic falters. It's not an upstream swim forever. At some point, the current pushing you back will slow, then stop, then change course altogether. One day, you'll wake up and realize that you're finally coasting downstream in a career you forged all yourself. It happened for me. It happened for my wife, and it happened for you. But first, you must struggle. Business is always a struggle. On that fateful first day that I figuratively decided to flip the corporate world, to flip off the corporate world, I knew I wanted three things. He wanted three things: a career that allowed me to be funny for a living, the freedom to work for myself, one of those cool Japanese robot dogs, the ones that can bark and do backflips. I remember those actually. After promptly acquiring the dog, I set to work on the first two. But how do you start your career in a creative field when you have no connections and no idea what you're doing? Well, I found advice and my compass. In what would quickly become my favorite quote: "Be so good they can't ignore you." That simple sentence, uttered by legendary comedian Steve Martin, is really the only advice anyone needs to succeed in a career path of his or her choosing. Whatever you want to do, do it hard and do it better than anyone else. Eventually, you will get noticed. Since the internet was the most accessible option for getting my work seen, I created a website and started posting funny things that I made to it, not occasionally, or on the weekends, or when the mood struck. Every day, I made a personal challenge to myself to create one funny thing a day, and stuck to it. He's talking about consistency, and stuck to it. Even when no one was reading, I forced myself to work because if you want it to be your job in the future, you have to treat it like a job right now. Just looking at these graphs, they have graphs on here also. How legit it becomes, and then how seriously you take it. So it started to graph straight up. Sure, a lot of those early things I made terrible, but I made. Can I put this down a little bit? There we go. Sure, a lot of those early things I made were terrible, but the better I got. If I made something I thought was especially good, I sent it to larger websites. If they liked it, they posted it. Eventually, some of them started following my work on their own. Success. I no longer had to beg them to post my work. They started doing it on their own. I thanked them. I talked to them. I found other people making things like me. We supported and shared each other's work, with which new connections I made. That stream started to get a little less difficult to swim against. Let's see. I worked hard those early years beyond my own things. I started collecting and posting other funny things I found across the web. I saw what other large humor sites were doing, and I did it better. I built up my Facebook following and wrote jokes and made powerful friends on Tumblr and drew comics. And I did it all while scraping by as a freelance writer, mindlessly typing out SEO articles about vasectomies and aftermarket car parts, among other less terrible topics. In total, I probably worked 50 to 60 hours each week. I worked Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. It was exhausting, but was also worth it. Eventually, I started earning enough ad revenue off my website to quit freelancing. I done it. I was making people laugh. I was doing it from the comfort of my home, and I was getting paid for it. As time passed, my workload was streamlined. Less and less time was needed to promote myself and my blog. I was able to focus solely on finding and creating funny things. At some point along the way, I had swam so far upstream that I changed direction. I started coasting. My job is now an easy routine, and it is amazing. And because I worked so hard those early years, I've been rewarded with a job I love and a life that requires a dress shirt only on very few occasions. It's a dream life. And if you have the persistence to swim upstream for just a little while, it can be your life too. Now, if you will please excuse me, my robot dog is barking and he needs to be fed. That is very interesting. And then act on this is the last page of it. Embrace the cycle. If you feel like you're struggling, accept that this will pass and keep working. If you feel like you are finally successful, like you've really made it, accept that this will pass and challenge yourself so dramatically that you can struggle again. So basically, don't give up, keep going. And when you reach a plateau, do more. So interesting. Again, Side Hustle Economy. Very, very good book. Definitely pick it up. Stories from it's mostly about persistence, being persistent. It will motivate you. If you are a slight go getter, it'll motivate you to be so fucking tough. Like so fucking rock hard up in here. It will fucking the hustle economy. Go get it.